Adolf Hitler is often compared to other evil dictators, such as Stalin, Mao, or Kim Jong-un, but he is also different from them in many ways. He was not born into power, nor did he inherit it. He rose to power through his charisma, his propaganda, and his ideology. He was not just a political leader, but also a cultural and religious one. He was not just a tyrant, but also a visionary. He was not just a man, but also a myth. In this video, we will explore the dark and twisted mind of Hitler and the origins of his anti-Semitism. We will also see how he turned from an artist who liked art to a ruthless dictator who massacred millions of Jews. Adolf was born in 1889 in an Austrian village named Brno am Inn, when Austria and Hungary were one country. He loved his mother, Clara, very much, but he hated his father, Alois Hitler, who was a harsh man. Some historians claim that Hitler's grandfather, whose identity is unknown, was a Jew. They argue that Hitler had Jewish ancestry, like David Green, a journalist who wrote about Hitler's Jewish origins in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Sergei Lavrov, a foreign minister of Russia, also spoke about this topic. He said that Hitler was a Jew, and that his grandfather was Jewish. But the Zionist regime did not agree with this, and they rejected it. They said that Hitler was a killer and he could not be one of them. Adolf Hitler did not like school and he did not want to continue his education. At the age of 18, he abandoned all schooling. He wanted to be an artist and went to Vienna to learn art there. In the year 1907, he applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna and was rejected. So he went to sell his paintings on the sidewalk. He sold his paintings to various customers, some of whom were Jews. He resented the Jews for their economic success and influence in Europe, which fueled his anti-Semitism. After more than 2 years of struggling, he returned to his hometown, a small village in Austria. At this time, his mother Clara, the most precious and dearest thing in his life, died at the age of 47 due to an incorrect injection of the substance iodoform by a Jewish doctor named Edward Bloch. He became upset and once again, his hatred towards Jews grew. Hitler was a poor, orphaned young man. His aunt took him in and he lived with her. His aunt died soon after and left him a small inheritance. He decided to try his luck in Vienna again and pursue his artistic ambitions. He applied again to the Academy of Fine Arts, but he was rejected again for lacking feeling in his paintings. He was patient, but bitter. Some people recognized his talent and suggested that he study architecture instead of art. He needed to complete his education, but he hated it. In 1914, World War I broke out and Hitler, the artist, volunteered in the army. The call of the homeland was strong, despite his weak body. He was weak, but they chose him because the Germans wanted anyone to fight. However, Hitler's war experience was not glorious. He served on the front line of the war and was awarded the Iron Cross, second class, for his bravery, but he was wounded and temporarily blinded. This experience affected Hitler's psychology. He wondered how Germany, the great nation, could lose and be humiliated in this way. Therefore, he began to turn to politics. As a result, Hitler blamed the Jews for Germany's corruption and poverty. He believed that they had taken over the state by lending money at high interest rates or in exchange for political power. Moreover, he developed a racist and nationalist ideology that claimed that the Germans were a superior race and that they deserved more living space and resources. For instance, he opposed the Treaty of Versailles, which imposed harsh reparations and territorial losses on Germany after the war. In addition, he joined a small party called the German Workers' Party, which shared his views and goals. He soon became its leader and renamed it the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party for short. In 1923, Hitler and 3,000 of his followers were arrested after the failed beer hall putsch an attempt to overthrow the Weimar Republic. While in prison, he wrote the infamous book Mein Kampf, My Struggle, which sold 10 million copies and outlined his political ideology and plans for Germany. Hitler was released from prison after 9 months and resumed his political activities. In 1929, the Great Depression hit the world and the German economy suffered greatly. The currency became worthless and people faced unemployment and poverty. In 1933, the president of Germany, Paul von Hindenburg, appointed Hitler as chancellor, hoping to control him and his party. Hitler used his position to consolidate his power and eliminate his opponents. He persuaded Hindenburg to grant him emergency powers and banned other parties. He also abolished the office of president and declared himself Führer, or leader, of Germany. Hitler claimed to have solved the economic crisis by creating jobs in public works and the military. He increased the wages and pensions of some workers, but also exploited and oppressed others. He also prepared Germany for war and expansion. One of the factors that enabled Hitler to do all this was his propaganda machine. By establishing weapons factories all over Germany, Hitler intended to go to war from his first day in office. He was skilled in marketing and media, and he knew how to use language and gestures to persuade and manipulate his audience. He presented himself as the German hero and savior, and this helped him to gain the leadership of the party and the presidency of Germany in a short time. After he had secured the love and loyalty of the people, he started the wars that were the bloodiest in history. However, we will not go into the details of the war, but let us see what he did to the Jews. The Holocaust was the systematic persecution and murder of millions of people by the Nazi regime and its allies. It was one of the worst atrocities in history. More than 17 million people were killed, including about 6 million Jews, who made up 2/3 of the Jewish population in Europe. The Nazis also targeted other groups that they considered inferior or undesirable, such as Roma, Slavs, communists, homosexuals, and disabled people. They used various methods to kill them, such as gas chambers, firing squads, starvation, and torture. What were the motives and causes behind Hitler's actions? What was his relationship with the Jews and the other victims of his regime? Let us quickly summarize the matter. Josh Heimreicher's book, November 9th, proposes that Hitler's deep-seated animosity towards Jews stems from a personal incident in 1907 involving a Jewish doctor, Edward Bloch. This encounter led Hitler to perceive himself as a healer of Jewish ailments, fostering a lasting hatred. Additionally, Hitler blamed Jews for Germany's decline, alleging their control over media, judiciary, and finance. This belief, coupled with personal vendettas, fueled Hitler's anti-Semitic ideology and actions, contributing to the persecution of Jews and Germany's economic downfall.